Welcome back to Free to Play Academy. I'm Gabe Heiland. I'm a member of the Growth Insights and Consulting team here at Meta, and today I'll be talking about long-term retention in VR free-to-play games. So here's our agenda for today's session. I'll start with discussing the long-term relationship between monetization and retention, and then we'll jump right into features that have been proven to drive long-term retention. There's a well-known correlation in gaming between retention and monetization. This relationship goes both ways, with highly monetizing players being more likely to want to stick with your game, and highly retained players being more likely to convert and make a purchase. Even at a high level, it's notable how strongly higher monetization correlates with retention. Premium and premium with IAP games show significantly higher short and midterm retention compared to free-to-play with and without IAP. If more premium games integrated live services, they would likely also have stronger long-term retention. This is largely due to the emotional weight of making a purchase. Once a purchase has been made, a user is incentivized to see the value of that purchase. So in premium games, this means they're more likely to play longer to justify that upfront purchase. In free-to-play and subscription, the script is flipped a bit. So we focus more on driving retention in order to convince players that they are getting enough value to be worth converting and monetizing in the game. Ongoing investment, therefore, requires ongoing play, so it's imperative that you continue to provide entertainment value for your players. Long-term retention features draw on many of the same concepts as short-term, but you need to sustain players for weeks, months, or even years in some cases. The most successful free-to-play games have very long lifespans that far outlast premium games because they continually provide entertainment. So our first feature is adding in visible long-term goals for your players. You can't expect that all players will set long-term goals in your game themselves. Many of them need some support with clear indicators of lasting content. So for many players, this won't be a long-term engagement method unless they deeply enjoy the gameplay, the world, or they're motivated by completionism, like collecting everything in your game or exploring all the maps. Even if your game is built around like competition where interaction with others is often the content, you need to consider what your end game is. Many players won't ever reach your end game, or they won't engage with it even if they get to that point, but it motivates them to try, and it's a signal to all of your players that there's a high level activity there and that the game is supported at the high end. This could be something like tournaments with rotating rewards and wiped leaderboards in a competitive game. Or in a PvP game, it could be raids or boss fights, or public events, or even cooperative experiences where players create things for each other. Even if you have an endgame planned, some players will complete your content and look to move on. Games should consider leveraging or drawing attention to supplemental gameplay modes, like a light PvP mode or a freestanding roguelite, in order to prolong engagement even after all the main content has cleared. Our second feature is bi-weekly content schedule, both maintaining and messaging it. So our research suggests that for a live service game, refreshing content every 2 weeks is ideal. Whether that's a rotating store, a seasonal pass, or a live event, you want to ensure that new players see constant changeover within their first 2 weeks. This signals that the game is actively supported and that they can consistently expect there to be new things added. So I'm sharing a rubric with you that I've used with teams that I've led. There should be something worth logging on for every week. This could be a sale, it could be regular progression, or some other reason like a weekly quest or a seasonal event that keeps players logging in every week. They should have something new to see every 2 weeks. So this means having a predictable content pipeline and a cadence. This could be as simple as a new color variant of a cosmetic or a whole new map to play on. You want to stagger your releases of different types of content in order to buy yourselves time. There should be something new to do every month. This is where an event cadence comes in. You want to ensure that there's something that shakes up their experience monthly and injects something different into their routine. And then there should be something transformative quarterly. This is like a large gameplay event or a big update with new gameplay added. This should change the way that players interact with your game fundamentally. And you have to make sure that you message all of this to your players. So use in-game calendars and announcements Make sure that you are leveraging social media, push notifications, Discord servers, etc. Your players need to know where and how to find new content for it to be effective. Our next feature is long-term progression systems. So we talked a little bit about introducing short-term progression systems in our last session. This is the long-term version of it. Examples can include RPG-like systems like implemented in Call of Duty, or character creation, like is in Galaxy of Heroes. These are systems that intentionally require months to get the best items and the highest player levels. Competitive games need consistent play to rank up. Or if you have a player leveling up, they might access new content, abilities, or areas as they level up. While you could think of it as levels are just numbers in many RPGs, even just the act of assigning a numerical value to progress can really effectively motivate some players and keep them increasing that number. Our next feature is formalized social. So we talked a little bit in our last session about informal social, about having friends. This is large formalized social, and it can be transformative for your game. So this can include things like clans or a guild that have a dedicated UI. This allows players to connect and contact each other within the game. Social systems can be a really powerful tool in most games. They reduce the load of content that needs to be produced, as a significant amount of the fun of these games comes from interacting with other players. And best-in-class versions of this organize the entire end game around these groups. So you can have clan wars in a PvP game, PvE content like role-playing groups or those creative communities we talked about, things that are better with other people and transformative to your end game. Even if all you can do is implement a lightweight leaderboard in an otherwise single player experience, this can transform a player's motivation to keep going because they know other people are on the journey with them. And then our last feature is seasonal content. Seasonal content and events are very popular for a reason. These give players content to look forward to, as well as an ongoing way to showcase their tenure and status within a game. You want to align around real-world holidays and seasons, as this gives you easy and popular theming. It also makes a really good reason to make a pitch for platform featuring. If you lean into the FOMO aspect of making exclusive items and time-limiting access to them, that can really empower people's engagement with the seasonal event. And offering rewards tied to events boosts retention during that time. You can have limited or exclusive rewards like seasonal skins or cosmetics, but these aren't required. Live events can also just offer chances to earn rare materials or currency, or show players the value of engaging heavily while the events run. You do want to make sure that you message your events both in and out of game anytime that you are running them. So thank you for joining this session on long-term retention. We have a lot more content coming on this and other topics.